Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We are going to talk about nutrition and autoimmune disease. I have with me Sarah. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
Hi Beverley. Yeah, nice to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Um,
And so can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
so my name is Sarah Brookes. I'm founder of Autoimmune Hub in the UK, but I can work worldwide. I'm a registered nutritional therapist and autoimmune paleo coach. So I'll explain that in a little bit. But yes, and I specialise in thyroid and autoimmune conditions. So really what nutritional therapy is about is it's functional medicine, it's diet and lifestyle medicine, and it's really about getting to the root cause of what's causing your dis-ease, um, so that we can start to rebalance the body, bring the systems back into balance, and hopefully, reverse symptoms and people can live well again.
Okay. And how did you come to do that, actually?
I've always had an interest in nutrition. I think my mum used to buy lots of books, but then she wouldn't read them, and I'd pick them up and read them instead. And I remember reading one book when I was around 15 years old about energy and how to improve your energy with food. And I think that was really the light bulb moment where I suddenly realised what I ate actually made a difference to my body.
Mhm.
Um, Back then, in those days, it was like, it was more about how you looked really, and if you were looked a certain way, you were healthy, and
Yeah.
people didn't really think, well, if you've, I was anemic and all kinds of things, low energy. I had thyroid issues, but I didn't realize at the time, and I was tired, I was cold, and but at the time it was just like, oh, that's just you're just you're just
Yeah.
cold, and
Yeah.
you know um anyway, so that was sort of the turning point, that was the light bulb moment. And then um my parents used to buy a newspaper that always had a magazine in it, and it was very lifestyle driven, and I used to find that very interesting, and so that sort of gained my interest. I didn't do it at university because I didn't really have the confidence really. But I continued to read about it all the time, and there came a point in my life where I was like, I think I feel ready now that this is what I want to do. Um, because I'm reading about it all the time. This is what I spend my spare time doing. That maybe I should make it my full time. This is what I do in my full time. So yeah, and then I made the jump. But I was also experiencing health issues that I couldn't understand, and I couldn't
Mhm.
get anywhere with the doctor.
Okay.
He was just like, "You're normal. This is just your symptoms are just what happens to people. Bloating or fatigue." And I was just sort of told to go away and deal with it and put up with it. And then I started to study nutrition, but not really with the intent of making myself better, because at that point I didn't think that there was anything
It
that I
was
could
anything.
do.
Yes.
But through my course, I started, things started to click in. And then when there was an opportunity to, visit a student clinic, I thought, okay, let's see.
That's
I was really
right.
interested. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see how this goes. And I had to fill in a form with some symptoms. And I thought, right, I'm going to put her to the test. And I put bloating and cold hands, and she immediately came back and said, oh, let's test your thyroid. And then that's how I got diagnosed, actually. I went back to the doctor and got the right tests, and discovered that I had autoimmune thyroiditis. And then it just went from there, really.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have the symptoms, but like yourself, they don't know, what it is. And
Well, I think that the problem with thyroid symptoms is they're very vague and general kinds of symptoms, and you can just start to think, well, it's sort of early onset aging, really. You're cold, so you're wearing lots of
yeah.
jumpers, and you're tired, and you might have some joint pain, and you just start to feel like an older woman, really.
Mhm.
And I just felt, I was my boyfriends used to call me a grandma. Because I always needed a woolly jumper and I wanted to go to bed early, and I'd fall asleep through, during a film, and lots of stuff like that. So I definitely felt old beyond my years. But what I learned from nutrition is that, right up until, the later stages of life, you don't actually need to put up with the symptoms of aging and,
Mm.
having low energy, or, you know, whatever,
Pain. Yeah.
even like forgetfulness and poor memory, and lack of energy or inability to lift weights, or something like that. It's
Yeah.
you don't have to sort of
Yeah,
accept.
yeah,
um
accept all this. Yes.
yeah, so
Yes, I'm sure. So the nutrition is really important.
yeah, it's, to me, it's the foundation. Like, I'm interested in lots of other subjects as well, and I try to pull those into my practice. Like, I'm really interested in herbs and acupuncture and
Mm.
homeopathy and kinds of, lots of other things. But I do truly believe that nutrition is the foundation of health, because if your body is to heal itself, um,
It's
you've got to
to
see your food as the tools to fix yourself. How does your body fix itself? I think a lot of people think that food is just energy, but you've got to think, how is if your body's continually renewing itself and fixing itself and healing, how
Mhm.
is the body doing that? The only way it's doing that is through the food and the water that you drink, and the food that you eat. And food becomes enzymes, it becomes hormones, it becomes neurotransmitters. It builds bones, it builds cells. And your body is, you know um, you have cell turnover. Your gut cells are turning over every 3 days, where you need the materials to rebuild those cells. And other cells turn over maybe once a month, or but I don't know if anybody knew, but you get an entire new skeleton every 10 years. So yeah,
Okay, I thought you were
you're not,
7. I thought you were 7.
maybe, I mean, maybe it's
Yeah,
7 or 10 years, something like that.
yeah, but it's
um
doing, yes. Yes, I agree with you.
yeah, so and so to the thought that, even our bones, we're realizing now that, our bones can, it used to be from age 30 your bones are sort of declining, but
Mm.
you can extend that because of, you know and even our brain as well, our brain's renewing, and things like that. So
Okay.
sorry, I might just go off on a tangent.
No,
What happens?
that's good. That's really interesting. And so that's also because of what you were diagnosed that you decide really to go into nutritional, right?
Yeah. So I think at the time, I was lucky at the time, because there was some quite prolific figures coming into the mainstream. In the UK, it was like Delicious Liella and Madeline Shaw, and people like that, who they also studied at the same college as me, but they were reversing their own conditions, for example, like POTS. Um, and it was starting to make me think, well, other people are doing this, then I can do it as well. So I was really inspired to try and reverse my own condition, and I was studying and finding new things out, so it was kind of like, a bit of an adventure, really. And I like to explore, and I see myself as a bit of a health detective. So yeah, it was like a project, really, for me,
Yeah.
just to see, well, let's see what I can do. Let's put this, what I'm learning, to the test. Let's use my knowledge and see what happens.
Were you able to reverse yours?
So yes, I mean, with autoimmune disease, it's there's a genetic component, but other aspects are diet and lifestyle driven. And once those genes have switched on, you will always be autoimmune. But what we can do is to bring the inflammation down, so much so that we can just silence the condition, I suppose. So, I mean, you could call it remission in the sense that you could live a happy and well life.
Okay.
You will always be autoimmune, and it does take quite a bit of work. But if you maintain, lifestyle practices and dietary practices, good sleep and movement, and optimizing your environment, then yes, you can live well. And I reversed, I brought my thyroid antibodies down by 90%, almost into clinical remission. Under 34 is seen as you don't have Hashimoto's.
Okay.
And my antibodies came down to about 44. So really, really close to that point of where, a doctor would say, you don't have Hashimoto's, although I do, but it's just it's hard work, just keeping it
It's not
down.
increasing actually.
Yeah. So just some things that I have to keep on top of. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Um,
But that's good because I'm just thinking about a condition that I have, and I realize also it's like a rare disease and it's genetic. But I realized that when I stop eating meat, actually improve. My health. Well, it's like you say, it's just stay at the same level. It's not increasing, nothing, and exercising. I change a little bit of my diet, I would say, and it didn't increase because it could be worse. So so I believe that when you have like a condition, you need to think about what you putting in your body, like food and drink, and be careful with alcohol, or if you smoke, or all that kind of things.
And everyone's different as well, and we're very much moving into a place now with like personalized nutrition, where we look at different how food affects people's bodies differently. And just to sort of, I've got two tangents here, but in one sense, like even food and nutrients can be used to switch genes on and off. And we're finding that there are certain nutrients in food that can protect DNA, switch genes on and off, which can obviously really help. And what was I saying? The other thing, but yeah, personalized nutrition. We're looking very much, for example, with like some people, they don't do well with eating meat. So in autoimmune conditions, often I would. It depends on certain autoimmune conditions. Most autoimmune conditions do better with eating meat, but there are some where it can aggravate it. For example, like psoriasis. People with psoriasis may find that they do better without meat, and that can be down to the inflammatory fats in the meat, can drive inflammation. So yeah, do you mind if I ask you what condition you have?
Yeah, no problem. It's called PXE. It's a pseudo xanthoma elasticum. So yes, so it's they don't know exactly what caused it, but it's like a calcification in the body, and it affects the skin the eyes, and some people cardiovascular. Yes, yes.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But I stopped, actually, is also one thing. I stopped watching sometimes you join a group who have the same thing than you. And sometimes, you see people who are maybe worse than you, and, it can bring you down. So you need also to adjust or see what is best for you on that part.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can bring you down and you're not motivated to find something to live with it, because you need to learn to live with it. It's there. And that's what I did. I know I have it and I learned to live with it. And sometimes I forget that I have it because, I try to live, a normal life, actually.
Yeah. And the same with me, actually, because in some ways I got myself to a certain point, and then you just think, oh, I'm normal again, and I can just do the things that I want to do. And then you realize, oh, actually I do need to get my sleep, and I still manage my stress, and I still need to work hard at staying well. But it's coming like sort of second nature to me now. And a lot of the things that I recommend to my clients are, at least I try to recommend like enjoyable lifestyle changes, and always try to put together some really nice recipes where I don't want my clients to feel like their dietary changes are a compromise. In fact, I sometimes try to make alternatives that are better than the things that they are having to give up. So yeah, try to see it as a really positive thing that you know and try to get a lot of the time with autoimmune disease, what we need to do is to try and live more like our ancestors did, really. Working with the rhythms of the days and the seasons.
Yeah.
I get women to live according to the rhythms of their menstrual cycle. But it's about getting plenty of daylight and fresh air, and getting outside and moving outside. Sleeping when it's dark, and getting up at the balancing the circadian rhythm again. Doing things like that, and learning to relax, and enjoy relaxing, find joy in your life, find connection, find meaning and purpose. And all of these things are really good for the immune system. And I think people sort of forget that as well. When they come to me, they think, oh, it's all about nutrition and the food's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
But there's so many other really simple, pleasurable things that you can implement, to help your body. Just some simple things like gratitude and kindness and connection. Like, kindness is good for the immune system.
Yeah.
And that's really nice to know that some really simple stuff can help. I have some amazing research on the benefits of grounding, or what we call
Yeah.
earthing, which is just walking barefoot on the ground. And you start to think, well, this is just how our ancestors lived. It's just how we were meant to be. And the effects that it can have on your immune system and your white blood cells, and reducing inflammation. And I want people to know that this isn't, autoimmune disease is very complicated, but fixing it isn't complicated. It's just the really simple, natural stuff that you've got to do on a consistent basis, really.
I agree with you. And sometimes when it's simple, it's like, does it really work?
Yeah, you kind of think like, am I doing enough? This isn't hard enough work. This is a serious disease, and I've got to work really hard at it. And actually it's like, well, no, you just need to take things off your plate, go to bed early,
Yeah.
get outside in the sunshine, walk on barefoot, and eat a really good, healthy, balanced diet that's full of fruits and vegetables and other nutrient dense foods, and try to enjoy life. And you'll probably notice, well,
Yeah.
I noticed huge things. But I just, it's interesting how we're stuck in this rut these days, and I don't know, it'd be interesting to hear about what life is like in Africa, um, because in the UK, you know, we wear busy and stressed like a badge of honor, and there's no time to relax, and it's overachieve, overachieve, and you know, life is a bit of a treadmill, and it's just like pulling things back again and just saying, actually, how can I enjoy my life? And sometimes, sadly, I don't get to do enough of this with my clients because we have short periods of time. And I would love to spend more time with my clients and saying, come on, let's just enjoy life. How can we enjoy life? Let's take more off our plate. Let's find joy, find connection, get to know your neighbors. But I think if I sometimes I feel like if I brought it up with clients, I just think, I'm not here for this. Like, why are we doing this? Like, they don't take it seriously enough. And you know, but I'm looking to try and develop more of an online course where hopefully I can, hopefully potentially pay more attention to things like this, you know, some really simple stuff, and get people to really, you know, start to
Yeah,
change their
take the
lives.
time to it. Yeah, yes. I was, you know, when I moved here in Africa, I found people were slow, were like, you know, if I don't do it today, well, I will do it tomorrow. And coming from Canada, it was really hard for me to, you know, to adjust. And every time I was going back from here, going on in Canada, just to visit, I was finding people running all the time. And I was like, you know, my head spin. I was like, why people keep running? For the train, for the bus, you know, you're running to catch the train. When I look at that, and I told myself I was living like that. I was part of, you know, those people who are running. And so I would say I prefer the life in that term here, because you take your time. You're not in the rush, so it's less stress. We have another stress, but it's which is different than in Canada or UK. But we take time. We take more time here than other places. We don't rush, or just in the morning, you know, to go to work. But you know, usually we like, okay, if 5 minutes later, it's okay. I'm not, you know, gonna rush.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And actually, in third world developing countries, there's a lot less autoimmune disease than
Yeah.
in more developed countries. And part of me is just thinking, I don't really, I feel sad at like some of the countries maybe who are trying to catch up with us, like the US or United Kingdom, Australia. And I just think, no, like we're, you know, we're not in a good place. Like our diet is terrible, our lifestyle is terrible. You know, I kind of, you know, I don't know, it's interesting. And I wonder if there will be start like a move where we will sort of move more back towards how we used to live, you know,
I
previously
believe
and stuff
so.
like that.
I believe so. I think life will push you to go back to the way it was before, because we can see that the more we move forward, rushing and everything, it's not good. Everyone, you know, see it, that you're sick, you develop other, you know, other things like stress, like anxiety, you know, it's so many things coming with the way of living now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
in
hope.
one point it will change, even for the food. Look, today people are looking more for the food coming from agriculture.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean like organic, and what
Yes,
do you mean?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
organic. Yeah. And is there a lot of organic farming in Africa?
I won't say that it's a farming, because everyone can grow their fruits at their own house.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. We have like we have a space, but there is also a few places where people just grow the fruits or even the cow, the cow, all the animal, the chicken, you can do it at your own place, actually.
It's amazing, and I wish that we could do that more here. And we've been having egg shortages in the UK, and part of me was thinking I need to get some of my own chickens, and then I wouldn't have to worry about this egg shortage.
Yeah, I heard that
Um,
in United States also there is a shortage of eggs.
mm, yeah, I think there was a bird flu or something, but we've had lots of shortages this year, and some of it due to climate change as well. Like we've had tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. Um, you know, it's been a bit strange actually, quite,
Okay.
strange to experience those kind of shortages and stuff. So, um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
You were about to talk also about the OP autoimmune protocol. You know what it
oh
is?
yeah, yeah. So I am what you call a certified autoimmune paleo coach, and so there's an autoimmune diet, which very much does go back to our roots of how we would have eaten um, prehistorically, I suppose, or and it's, I mean, compared to the Western diet, it's quite a difficult diet to do because it's mostly made up with meats, fish, seafood, fruits and vegetables, and then there's certain spices, herbs, and using good fats like coconut milk and coconut products and olive oil and coconut oil and things like that. And you bring in things like organ meats, so going back to eating, the whole animal, using the bones to make bone broth, fermenting more foods, which makes them probiotic. Um, and yeah, it's very much how we used to eat a long time ago, and yet it's quite far removed from how we eat today. We don't eat that many fermented foods. So it can be quite a difficult diet to do. Everything needs to be as much as possible organic and wild. Everything needs to be cooked from scratch. So it's quite a big adjustment for people because people aren't used to cooking every single meal from scratch.
Mm.
Um, so we have to try and then adapt it to our lifestyles as well. And people are busy and working, and they've got children and they've got families. So it's teaching people to batch cook,
Mhm.
so that they can cook in large amounts and save it. Um, and yeah, so just getting whole foods directly from nature into the diet, and this helps people to, it sort of rebalances the gut microbiome. It helps rebalance the immune system because it's nutrient dense and providing lots of nutrients for people. It's less processed, so that really feeds our gut bacteria.
Mhm.
um, and then there's also aspects to the autoimmune protocol, which is also through lifestyle. So I sort of mentioned through connection and meaning and purpose, and finding support in our community.
Okay.
And I think it's just difficult because our lives are so removed from that sort of way of life. So, often, and, when you're getting into social situations, um, it's difficult. It's difficult to travel. It's difficult to socialize because the minute you leave your home, everything is so
Fine.
different. So it's just
Mhm.
really helping people achieve that diet. Um,
It's really
what it,
strict. I find it strict.
it is very strict, but it's not for life. And it's a diet that can be used to discover our food intolerances.
Okay.
So it's very much an elimination diet where you take most things out, um, and then you reset the gut and help it heal. and then you bring the foods back in. And the aim of the diet is to actually get as wide a diet as possible, um, and just and to start bringing the foods back in. And I think there is this danger that people can start to sort of see, well, these foods are good and those foods are bad, and sometimes people are at risk of sort of developing fears of food. So that's why it's very much sort of central to bringing the foods back in and seeing how we react to them, to keep people on track, to remember that it's simply an elimination diet and it's not forever. And the aim is to actually heal the gut so you can bring the foods back in.
Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to say before we close up? Maybe a different subject that we will be talking about.
Yeah. So what for in terms of like next time, or what do you mean by different subjects?
If there is anything that you would like to share with the audience, anything that you want to say particularly?
Just that, if anyone is interested to find out more, you can look me up on search Google autoimmune hub. I try to write articles. You can sign up to my newsletter, and especially if you have a thyroid condition, you can sign up to receive like information and research and recipes about, and to learn more about thyroid conditions. I have a Facebook group on calling Healing Hashimoto's in the UK. So if you'd like to join that, and I try to make that a supportive community. So yeah,
I can add
if
it.
anyone would.
Sorry, I can add it
Okay.
actually, the link below the video, so people can just click.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you allow comments, but if anybody wants to
Yes, sure. If
leave
you
a
want to
comment about
comment.
anything that I've sort of discussed, if you'd like me to go into further depth on anything that you've heard so far, let us know in the comments below, and we can maybe do a more expanded version later on. If you'd like to know more about lifestyle or more about food, or then just leave a comment below and let us know what you're interested in. So yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you everyone for watching. Do like and put a comment below if you like for us to discuss anything that you feel about food, autoimmune disease if you have it, and we will be happy to do a video with more detail and to help you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sarah.
yeah,
Bye.
thank you, Beverley.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
nice to meet you. Yeah. All right then, thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.